Hey, what's up? John Hansen here, fantasypoints.com. Welcome to another edition of Hansen's Hints. We are still in early August and we're still barreling through all 12 draft positions so we can see how I implement my 2023 draft plan at all 12 spots. Number one, two, three, four. We're up to number eight, and number eight is pretty darn interesting because it's not obviously in the middle of round one, which is kind of no man's land oftentimes. It's not totally at the end of round one, but it's nearing the end of round one. So we know we can get a good wide receiver in round one. But the real question is, and I have not done this much at all so far in teams 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, do we go running back in round number two? That's the number one question. I've gone through a bunch of different scenarios. I've tried a bunch of different paths and routes. And once again, I do think I've come up with the optimal route for those drafting near the end of round number one, or specifically at 8 overall. So once again, we have gone through using the Fantasy Points Generator software to just go through the whole process, basically. So if you're listening to the podcast version of this, I'll try to make it as painless as possible as we do our screenshot video of drafting a team from the number 8 hole using that Fantasy Points Generator. Let's take a look. Let's go to the video. Okay, let's draft a team from the 8 hole using the Fantasy Points Generator. We have done this already a bunch of times. I've gone through this multiple times. That's why I have to keep coming up with a different name for the team, because it doesn't allow duplicates. If you're watching the video here, another edition of Hansen's Hints coming at you right now. We're going over all 12 draft positions, not on this podcast. They're all individuals, but we're up to pick number 8. And I assume if you are listening to this, you specifically have the 8th pick. Not sure if that's a good thing or not. I think it's fine. We'll say it that way. And we're ready to get started drafting in a 12-teamer. 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, 0 kickers, 0 defenses. We don't miss them at all. PPR, saving the league, mock drafting to our pick at 9. And it is, once again, Stephon Diggs. We've been here before where we've taken Diggs over even Bijan Robinson, Nick Chubb, guys like that. Pretty stable guy, will get in the wide receiver business. But now the question is, know what the software is probably going to do, because it's programmed to go a little wide receiver heavy. Let's go to Hansen's Hits. That is going to say Chris Olave. Software actually said Patty Mahomes. So this is a weird year, I will say. ADP's all over the place. Some projections are all over the place. But I don't really, I go by my own, feelings on things, and they come educationally, of course, but, I'm not going to follow every trend and all that. I'm just going to go with what I think is the best plan, knowing what the trends are, which is why I'm all in on the wide receivers. However, despite getting recommended Olave, I've gone through the exercise, and I've tried going with a wide receiver, but I like it better when I go with, really, other than Jonathan Taylor, who's got an issue right now as I record this in early August. There's only one guy who stands out really as a true 3-down back who is relatively young, in a good spot, foundational player. And, I generally, Derrick Henry kind of applies, but I'm not taking him. It's Saquon Barkley. I felt that going Saquon Barkley was the way to go. So we opened with Steph Diggs and Saquon Barkley. That was like the next player recommended in the software anyway, of course. Now we're going to see the software actually give us TJ Hawkinson as the recommendation. But I just checked off Hansen's Hints, which hard-coded into it has some specific recommendations. And, I do like Jerry Jeudy quite a bit. I do want to get into wide receiver business. So there's a couple things going on here to recommend Mr. Jerry Jeudy, and I like that start. Maybe it's a slight overpay for Jeudy, but if he does what I think he'll do, he'll be a pretty good too. And certainly not a bad 3rd-round pick. Will he deliver great value? Probably not, but it's fine because I want to just secure this position. Now we're faced with a question. We've been faced with this question before. I don't particularly like Joe Mixon, so he's the pick now. Certainly like my guy Rachaad White. If I'm looking at the advanced analytics, which I am right now, if you're watching the video, it shows me that if I wait a pick, I can still get Rachaad White. If I wait 3 picks, I can get Rachaad White. We already have one running back. That's enough for now. We could go Ayuk again. He's kind of been our guy, but it's getting a little boring. I've been taking him too many drafts. I'm not going to draft. If I do 10, 12 drafts, I'm not going to draft the exact same receiver in every single league. So let's not do that with Ayuk, but we do love Ayuk. But we do have the 2 receivers of Diggs and Judy, and we love Kyle Pitts, who's available if we skip tight end here. So I've come to the determination that I'm a little stuck, and when I'm stuck in round 4 at 41 here, I just go Burrow. So we go Joe Burrow here. Safe pick. Is it a value? It's a better value potentially if Joe's healthy. I bet she's a better value than Jalen Hurts and maybe even Josh Allen. Joe Burrow did get 40 touchdowns last year. Moving on here, drafting out of the 9-hole, opening with Diggs, Barkley, Judy, and Burrow. So 2 good receivers, 1 high-end guy at each position here other than tight end. We're looking good. So we are up to round 5, and the software loves J.K. Dobbins, but software, once again, doesn't know what's up with J.K. Dobbins. When I do the next projection update, which will be very soon, he'll be trimmed down just a little bit, and it could get worse as the days and weeks go on. So I'm going with my guy, Kyle Pitts. It's not the greatest value. Oh, no, I don't. I don't because I skipped the guy. I missed it. I've already done this. I've already gone through the exercise. I go with Hollywood Brown to get my 3rd receiver. And it made sense because it was a little early for Pitts. And Hollywood Brown's ADP is 59. We're taking him here at 56. That is fine. So now we've got the 3 receivers. Hollywood Brown, not the greatest, but he is a complete alpha dog for his team. Looks like Kyler Murray will play in the first half of the year. So could be a value. Certainly could be a value. Not a bad 3. Now we take Kyle Pitts. We're going to ignore the software again and go Kyle Pitts. Now, when I ignore the software, I'm running the risk that I won't finish high in the overall standings after the draft when it all adds up all the points from my team that I draft manually here, and then the rest of the teams drafted by the computer. We need to mock draft to our next pick, and we're going to go Rachaad White. That is a slam dunk, of course, here at 81, round 7 as our RB2. It's beautiful, great value. Then we're also going to go with another one of my darlings here, Flexology on James Cook. Feeling that one right there is a real nice RB3 with a speck of upside. Well, again, we once again go with my guy Sky Moore as our wide receiver 4. You know, I am taking these guys pretty much every time. There are a couple guys I've kind of pulled back from, like Pitts a little bit and Ayuk, a little bit of Lawrence as well. Now we can go boring. See, we've gone pretty aggressive with young ascending guys. Now we can get a little Brian Robinson, even though he is young and ascending. Brian Robinson already talking about being like a different player in person and all that from last year, which is understandable. That's good stuff. And then we've already got our starting lineup. So now we're just simply adding depth, and it's all upside or sneaky values among veterans like Jacoby Myers. Certainly have a bad vibe on the Raiders, but Myers as my 5th receiver is pretty darn good. Now we're into round number 12, simply adding backups that make sense. See, we could go Chiggy here, but we could also wait around. Oh, I see I previously had been getting someone else here, and the randomness of the software is precluding me. No. This is where I've been taking Chiggy. My bad. We're good. Round 11, I go Chiggy, or 12, I go Chiggy as my tight end 2, which is a pretty upside-oriented tight end 2, the team with Kyle Pitts.
We know if you've been listening to any of these that Kenny Pickett is coming up real soon, but we can get him in the next round, actually, if we look at the advanced analytics. So we'll get another receiver. Do like that Alec Pierce. I've been thinking all year that he would really mesh better with Anthony Richardson than Michael Pittman, since Richardson's an aggressive throw of the football, downfield guy, and that is Alec Pierce's game. Not sure he's going to support a volume-based guy like Michael Pittman. Let's now take Ken Pickett. And we wrap it up. Now, I can go a number of directions here. I am a little light at running back with only 4. So I'm inclined to go with a stash and hope guy and pass on some good ones. Zamir White is tempting. Gus Edwards, not bad. But I really like the rookie Chase Brown. So I'm going to go off ADP here a little bit. It's 176 overall, and his ADP is 202. I may get taxed here, but I really like him as a stash and hope back pick here in round 15. So that is the squad. Look at the starting lineup. Joe Burrow, Saquon Barkley, Rashad White, Stephon Diggs, Jerry Jeudy, Hollywood Brown, Kyle Pitts in the flex. 2 flexes, James Cook, Sky Moore. Brian Robinson and Chase Brown are RB4 and 5. We've got wideout 5 being 4. No, actually 5 after Sky would be Jacoby Myers. Then 6 would be Alec Pierce. Tight end 2, Chigga Okonkwo, and Ken Pickett as our QB2. And last thing we need to do is to see where we stack up with the other 12 teams drafting against the computer. And as you see here on the screen, if you're watching the vid, it's also, I'll paste this into the article. We came in first in starter points and total points. Don't have to listen to the software completely, but stay within the parameters of it. Stay within the draft plan. And there you go. That is just one, but maybe a very good one. Example on how to draft from the number 9 hole. I'll wrap it up here. I'm John Hansen. Thanks for listening, liking, subscribing. Throw us a bone. Good reviews, all that. Always appreciated. And check out data.fantasypoints.com if you have not checked out the most powerful data tool ever invented. Get a free 7-day trial to kick the tires. And until next time, once again, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.